The problem right now is phantom inventory. It's a new thing for me, and I've been doing this for multiple decades.
I don't believe that every house that's on the market right now is for sale. Good afternoon and welcome to the Real Estate Rumble. I'm here with Matt the Bulldog Bollinger. I'm John Smith, of course, and we're here to talk about the real estate market day to day, how it's going to affect not only buyers, sellers, and believe it or not, even agents. How you doing, Matt?
Doing well, John. How are you?
You know, I'm doing good. It's been a while. We've had a few changes. We've moved over to a new brokerage that we're all excited about. We're with Realty Execs, which happens to be a nationwide company and is recognized nationwide for their excellence. And that's one reason we decided to become business partners with them. So exciting new move. Nothing really changes. Service is still fantastic. And you're still basically going to get the most amazing service, but we have a bigger reach now because we're not just a local company. We actually have the reach to go across the nation and across the world with referrals. So as always, if you ever need anything in real estate, I don't care what your location is, Matt and I can help you get it accomplished, residential, investment, or land. All right, now that the commercial's out of the way,
we can wrap it up.
Damn, we could just get up and go. So right. Listen, I want to talk about this market because the little hair that I have left, I've seemed to be pulling it out, trying to understand it and to see where it's going. I see Matt is already there. So I just kind of wanted to start off by just talking about the inventory. Matt, we constantly hear how inventory is up. I mean, that's the big headline, right? Oh, inventory's up. We're all happy. But is it?
Man.
I mean, we coined a phrase the other day for us, and I'll let you talk about that. But is it really what we think it is?
I don't think you can just look at that top line number and call it inventory's up. I feel like, and we've talked about this for a while, but we've talked about the number of homes that we feel are on the market that are sellers who want a specific number. They refuse to negotiate. They refuse to sell unless they get their number because they don't want to give up their 3 or 4% mortgage. To me, that's not real inventory because buyers are not playing that game right now.
No.
Buyers are coming in and they're saying, hey, I'm going to come in under ask. I'm going to ask for concessions. I'm going to ask for my agent to get paid. I'm going to ask for all of these other things. And it's across the board that way for buyers. So to me, they might as well not, a lot of the homes might as well not even be on the market.
Right.
We called them what?
Phantom
inventory.
Yeah, so we have phantom inventory.
Yeah.
It's a perfect segue for Halloween. I don't believe that every house that's on the market right now is for sale.
I agree with you 100%. Okay. And I don't know what the exact number is, but it is a whole heck of a lot of them that people have said, I will sell my house if I get this number or I net this number, and they are not willing to budge off that number. That's not where buyers are. So we're not seeing buyers and those sellers coming together to make deals. We're seeing them make offers, the sellers saying, I'm not going to negotiate on that stuff, and they walk away and go down the street to buy one that is what we would call on the market. And they are buying homes. So we're still selling through the same number of homes, but a lot of them that are out there, I feel, should just not be on the market. They should just come off the market.
Do you think it's blowback from the recent market when everything was going crazy? Buyers had to eat it in the shorts. Even though they had low interest rates, they got higher prices, but the lowest interest rates would brought them out. And so now at this point, buyers that were not able to get in that house are basically given the big, you can go ahead and cloud that out, giving the sellers the big FU.
I think it could be some of that. Or on the other side, they did get a home during that time, but they had to pay up for it.
Right.
And so that was to get that rate. That was one of the things that we talk about also is how long are these people going to stay in this house till they really see a full advantage of that interest rate? Like everybody wears it like a badge of honor that they have a 3 and a 3.5 or 4% mortgage. But really, how long is it going to take for them to stay in that house before that really becomes a serious advantage? I understand that the payment is a little bit less right now, but you're going to have to stay in that house for quite a long time if you paid $50,000 over ask to get a 3% mortgage. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I do.
It might take you 10 years before you break the break-even point on that.
So in other words, what you're saying currently is, and God, the world's going to kill me here, interest doesn't matter. When I say that word, okay, interest doesn't matter within the first 8 years.
For some people, it's not as big of a thing. It shouldn't be the deciding factor necessarily. I understand affordability is it, and everybody lives on a monthly payment. But if you need a place to live and you're paying rent somewhere else, you got to throw it all in the pot to figure out where that number is for you. But 6.5. I mean, I saw last Friday when we get the mortgage reports that come out, that 1 point was, with 1 point buy down, it was like 6.125. Like if you look back and really look at the history of mortgages, that's pretty cheap.
Right.
The problem right now is that everybody's trying to hang on to that price. And so that's where the phantom inventory comes back into it, where it's not really for sale because they're not willing to come off that price, but buyers are wanting to negotiate, and they have the power to negotiate right now.
But here's one of the questions I have for you, okay? And you may not be able to answer it, but we could give our best guess here. So is the amount of equity somebody currently has in their house, let's say they bought during the peak time, okay, because prices have gone up since then.
Oh, yeah.
That is not, let's just say, mortgage money. That is, say, for a rainy day or an emergency money that they could use to do something with their house.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is it greed? I mean, if I have $200,000 in equity, I want to sell them. I want to get every bit of money I can for my future.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's just a perspective that how people are looking at that. But really, it's $200,000 worth of paper. On paper, it's nothing unless you can access it. So there's only a couple ways you can access it. You could get a home equity loan or a home equity line, and you're going to pay 6, 7, 8%.
You're right back in the interest business.
Right. Or you sell your house, and that's how you access that money. Otherwise, it's just on paper. Do I think that we're going to see housing prices run up when rates come down a little bit? I don't think so. I think we're still going to see flat to slightly negative price appreciation or deflation in this case. So I don't know why necessarily everybody's wanting to hang on to that last $1,800 and is willing to blow deals up over it. It's a new thing for me, and I've been doing this for multiple decades.
We have 11 plus houses on the market currently. We've brought them all offers of some type, some point. The ones that are still on the market are the ones that want to hold out for their number.
Yeah.
Okay. If the shoe was on the other foot, I think you and I both would still try to hold out for our number. But then it goes back to, what is the purpose of the sale? The purpose of the sale is, if it's I'm holding out to my number because I need to make as much money as possible. Great. Then manage your own expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't go in and going, okay, I know I'm high and I know I'm higher than anybody in here, but don't blame the buyer for putting an offer in that's $15,000 below and asking for concessions and wants you to pay their real estate agent.
If you get multiple offers like we have on properties and they all are coming in around the same number, and they can go about it different ways, like you said, concessions or how they're going to pay the buyer's agent, et cetera, whatever it is, or just straight off the price. They're all netting about the same for the seller.
Right.
That means that it's an expectation problem. It's a price problem. It's the why we can't put that thing together. It's not a buyer problem. The buyers are all coming in right around the same number. That's what it's worth.
But I'm going to remind you, buyers are coming in with brass knuckles, and you're going to end up with a bloody nose no matter what.
Some are, but the expectation for buyers really hasn't changed that much, I don't think. I mean, yeah, we had those few years that were stupid, in my opinion, where it was paying way over ask, and it was all to get a specific interest rate, and the demand was there, and the inventory was short. But now I don't think that much has changed. People are back to asking for concessions. That was big before that whole run up. It was FHA, VA, even conventional loan buyers that were asking for some sort of concessions towards their closing costs.
But hold on, I'm going to interrupt you there. Here's what I saw over the weekend. I saw somebody asking for $10,000 in concessions. Mm-hmm. 5 years ago, they would ask for $4,300 on the same house. Are buyers getting greedy as well?
I think that there's something to that. I mean, they see what they call inventory, and they think, oh, that means sellers are going to be desperate. But they're not either. They're sitting. So we've got this impasse, but you know what? We could probably make those deals work at $4,300 concessions
all day
if people would be willing to negotiate that. But what we're finding is that I'm not coming off my number at all, and I'm not giving this and I'm not giving that, and the buyers are going, then I'm walking away.
Well, and the reason they're walking away is because this phantom inventory, there's another listing 2 houses down.
Correct.
Okay. So that just gives them more opportunity to try to find someone. It kind of was shocking to me the other day. We got an offer from somebody on one of our listings, and they came in and they were asking for everything: a $15,000 price drop, roughly $10,000 in concessions, an $1,100 warranty. Please pay my 3% to my agent. They asked for every single thing. And then when they called me, they're like, they really, really want this house. And I said, oh, okay. Because they've lost out on 3 of them.
Yeah. There's a reason for it.
There's a reason
out on 3
right?
of them.
So then we kind of got in the counter game, and somebody came back with $4,300 in concessions. Now, what do you think that did to the seller in their mind? They've said, wait a minute, you asked me for money you didn't even need first just to see if I'd give it to you. Now you want me to get it so you could get the house of your dreams. It's a battle.
They both sides need to get over themselves a little bit, I think is what it is, and see if they can find some common ground and meet in the middle.
Sure.
It's both sides are going to have to give something in this market.
And I'm not just talking this seller. I'm talking the whole buyer sellers. It's everybody. Sooner or later, we're going to have to meet and shake hands.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Both sides. The market is saying to buyers, you have some leverage finally. Sellers holding on to a year ago or a year and a half ago market, it's not the same market. So, but there is something in between that there's a common ground there that people could both be happy with the sale.
We used to be able to find that.
Agreed. And it's been very difficult these days.
Right. We used to be able to sit down and have negotiations.
Yep.
Do you think the whole debacle, and I'll call it a debacle, I don't think I'll get in trouble for that, this whole insertion of negotiation commissions, which was always there, but it's been brought to light in even worse of a scenario. If you were a good agent, I would like to say that we were, and we always told everybody that it was negotiable. But the reality is, of in this market, is if you jack with an agent's commission, even though this isn't about the commission, okay, but the reality is that commission has to be paid for by someone.
Right.
And if it's not the seller who's selling their house at a premium in this market right now, then it's got to be the buyer who's paying for it. And a lot of areas in this city can't handle buyers paying commission, closing costs, and pay you top dollar for your house.
100%. I think that you hit it on the head, and we've talked about it, and I know this is going to sound like it's just because I'm an agent. But what I think that people don't understand is that the buyer's agent, what sellers don't understand, because they haven't done it in that market as a buyer since we've had this, last August, I think it came around. What they don't understand is that buyer has a contract with their own agent for a specific percentage of payment for that transaction.
Correct.
It's typically what people are doing is they're putting 3% down, and what they're saying is, yes, it's negotiable, but I can't go the other way. I can't go up. So I'm going to do it at 3%. Then we'll discuss it based on whatever happens. There's agents in this market that are not willing to come off that number when it gets countered and say it went from 3% to 2.5% or to 2%. That's an extra on a typical house here, $4,000, right? That agent has a contract that says they're going to get paid 3. If they get 2 from the seller, there's a percent, $4,000, that they're going to have to come out of pocket with. And this is the part that I'm going to say, I think it's because it's going to sound like because I'm an agent, but it's really not, honestly.
Sure.
Because I'm willing to work with people. I want to keep the relationship more than I want to keep that one transaction. And you're the same way.
Right.
But there are a lot of agents out there that go, that's fine, we can do that, but you're going to pay me the difference. Now you've added another $4,000. You're better as a seller to negotiate on price or other concessions that you have rather than the agent's commission, because they have that contract. If you can work with other things and maybe something on price where they can borrow that $4,000 on top of whatever their offer is, instead of coming out of pocket dollar for dollar with it, you're talking about what, $7.50 per thousand that they borrow in today's market. Okay. So you're talking like $25 to $35.
Right.
They can borrow that on a monthly basis, and it's a lot easier to stomach than to have the down payment, all of the closing costs, all of the other things that go into inspections, maybe home warranty, whatever they want to put in there, that they're paying for out of pocket to say, yeah, you can have this house, but you're also going to have to pay an additional $4,000 on top of all that other stuff. I would say avoid, if you can, negotiating that particular piece of it, because it's likely that it's going to be paid by them anyway, and it could be the reason why they walk away.
Well, our social media people, how we love them, but they're going to respond just like you said. Well, that's an agent talking agent because he's trying to protect his commission. Well, it is in this business. We run our own business, and everybody has a choice, right? Yeah. Whether to work for less money, work for more money. I will guarantee you the industry leaders around here tell agents, do not work for less money. Work with whatever the framework of your commission is that you set.
The contract, yeah.
But I do like the words where you said, I'd rather build a relationship for you instead of emptying your bank account one time.
Right. I'd rather work with somebody 2 or 3 times in their lifetime of buying and selling houses than one time to get that check. That's not why I'm saying it. Mm-hmm. It sounds that way. I get it, but it's not that.
No, but we have to say that because I'm sure we'll get 100%.
No, I know that that's what people are going to think, but we have lowered it when it got countered to make the deal work for people. I would rather work with that person, but what my point is that we're not the norm in this market.
Agreed.
Where we're willing to work with somebody. It's the agent that goes, sure, great, but you're going to pay it.
And they're out there.
And they're going to get paid that one time because they're probably not going to be in the business 2-3 years from now when that person comes back and decides that they want to sell that house. They're probably going to be long gone and in something else, whereas we're going to still be in this business, and at that point we'll have been in the business for 25 years. That's the difference between our perspective and the agent that's just looking to get paid. I get it. It's going to sound like that, but it's really not that.
So what would you, you're suggesting to kind of stand back a little bit at all options, go ahead and pay the agent what they're asking. Sometimes we take listings if you come back to us at a lower rate. We don't care what the buyer's agent gets. We don't care. We don't care.
Right.
Okay. We know what we've got planned. Our goal is to do real estate with you forever.
Right.
So don't worry about our emotions of like, oh God, we're getting paid less than them. We don't care. We're here to sell houses and create relationships and to build a better Tucson by doing it.
Agreed.
That's our goal. But there are agents that they have their own business plan. Okay. And whatever commission they charge, sometimes they stand tall.
100%.
Good for them if they do. But it also creates another illusion that that's what agents do. They're just going to basically dig their feet in. We're not going to work with you. We're not going to do anything. You either pay me or just you don't get my representation.
Yeah. And I think that if you work to try to figure out another way, whether that be price or some other thing that you're working on, you have a lot better chance to get that done because prices have been elevated over the last 4 or 5 years significantly. If you look back that far, it's a lot harder for buyers to come up with what they need to come up with. And I'm mostly in the situation talking about first-time home buyers, but that's the base of every market. It's you need those people to come in and take those homes off the market so then the next person can step up and buy the next one and the next one and the next one. It is the largest base of the market that we have. You're just throwing something in there that potentially could mean that person now cannot buy your house.
Agreed.
But there might be another way where you can get your same net or really close to it, where you don't have to have that person come out another $4,000.
All right, I'm going to call you out on it. You keep bringing up these other ways, right? But besides working on the agent's commission, okay, and by the way, we do a lot of listings. We don't do a lot of buyers. So we're really not talking a whole lot about the business that we do. We're actually talking about the other side here.
Yeah.
What would you propose? What number would you adjust in lieu of buyer's agent commission? Where would you go? Like, I'll give you an example to get us started. Okay. $1,000 home warranty with pool coverage. Okay. that might be something I would say, why don't we work on that number?
Right. Yeah. Or it could be just overriding on the price a little bit if you don't think an appraisal is going to be a problem, and working with it that way where the buyer then has an out-of-pocket monthly expense of $25 to $35 like I was talking about before. And they could absorb something like that, but you might be slamming the door in their face to the point where they cannot afford the closing costs, the down payment, all the other stuff that they have to go through to buy the house if you're throwing another $4,000 bill at them today. So you could work with it, like you said, creatively with home warranties or other kind of credits that somebody might be able to use that would benefit them for the first year of being in the house, or you could have somebody that pays for it a little bit more.
So let me explain this a little bit more. So you're proposing, okay, the house is $350,000. We came in and we offered $340,000. We need $10,000 in concessions. Why, I don't know, but we do.
Right.
So what your suggestion is you write that back into the purchase price at $350,000. Then the seller
can pay the commission on that side. It only hits them for $4. They net $6.
And you basically are crediting. You're basically giving the money to the seller to give to you.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they can borrow the difference. It's a small monthly payment comparatively to the money out of pocket that they'd have to come up with. Yes, exactly a good description of what I'm talking about. That's the common ground that we need to find in this market, that I feel like we get close, but we're not having people on both sides agreeing that that's a good scenario. It needs to be. Excuse me.
I feel like the world's married to my second wife. Everybody wants to be right.
Right.
She always wants to dig in her feet, doesn't care. If I planted a post out in the yard, she'd go argue with the post.
Right.
And it just seems like everybody wants to challenge everybody.
Well, here's another scenario. Say that
you can keep that on.
You get offers in the first month that you're on the market. You don't make them work because either they're not good, some of them you just flush them anyway.
Right.
Or you can't come to an agreement with that person. Your offers going forward from that point are probably going to be lower, because the longer it sits on the market, people start to go, oh, what's wrong with this house? The scenario that we're talking about, though, if somebody has a mortgage on the property and they're fighting over $4,000, it might only be 2 more months before they've paid that amount.
Agreed.
I think they need to look at everything,
right,
and go, well, how do we guarantee that we're going to get through this now, not have to pay another $4,000 in mortgage payments? Well, cover that agent and try to overwrite so that you can get the net that you're looking for, but work together to try to make it work for everybody. And then you get the sale done. It's just, we're getting to that point where it's close, but for some reason people would rather fight over $1,800 or $2,500.
2 points I want to make. It's still a seller's market. There's still houses being sold.
Correct.
Prices are still up. People are still buying houses on a daily basis.
Yep.
Okay?
So for here in Midtown, it's up about 1.5%. So I'm talking Tucson Metro.
Yes.
But you go outside of there and the prices are softening a little bit
on the skirts,
because they're building a lot more out there also.
All right. Well, that brings me to a whole nother set of friggin' problems.
But the sellers who are in an area where they're building heavily, they're going to have to compete with that as well. That's a whole different challenge.
Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. We got new builders just basically cutting the feet out of resale.
Yep.
Okay. They're financing their own with a lower interest rate. They're offering, some cases I've heard 10 to 20,000's worth of credits in the build center.
They're doing everything they can to keep the price up.
Yep. And they're trying to keep everything up.
But their net is less.
Because they're offering so much.
Correct.
Okay. So we're not in a position as far as resale agents to go, okay, we're going to throw in a jacuzzi or build a pool for you. And those are extreme examples. Easy, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
They have the ability to get it at a lower cost than even the natural person could get it.
Correct.
So we have beautiful houses on the market right now. I mean, there's some gorgeous stuff out there that are just sitting.
Yeah.
And it's all because people can't get over themselves.
I think that there's some of that. Yeah.
Okay. They can't get past the past of when they bought it, that they had to bite the bullet, and that market's no longer there.
It's not.
It's no longer there.
No.
And it's truly what I feel is, like you said, a phantom inventory.
And that brings us back to that inventory that's out there that's holding on to that sale or list price. It gives the illusion that the numbers are better than they actually may be.
We had people 6 months ago saying, and I don't want to get too political here, saying that the president and all that's going to change the whole entire market overnight. rates are coming down, prices are coming down. I'm going to sell my house. It's going to go quick.
Yeah.
But the reality is it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It's a slow moving cycle, and we're turning in the cycle towards the buyer, and it's just happening slowly, but it's going to happen. And I think it's not going to, even if rates drop some, we're not going to see that mad rush that people have been talking about. Like, oh, everybody's going to be chasing this. Prices got so high that affordability became a problem in certain parts of the country. The jobs have to be able to support it. The income has to be able to support that. We need prices probably to soften a little bit, at least in our market. But in order to do that, we need to be able to have both sides looking at it the same way.
Right.
And that's the challenge.
Well, I heard something that the Fed said that they wanted inflation at 2%.
Correct.
Okay. What is the reality of that? Is that actually going to be able to, is that going to be able to happen? As historically, have we ever had inflation at 2%?
If they wait long enough, it will happen because the economy will soften and then it will happen. Yeah.
So bad things got to happen in order for good things to happen in the housing
sometimes,
market?
yeah. I mean, it could be labor markets that soften. But I tell you what, if I had my house on the market, I'm not going to be fighting over $2,000 with a buyer. I'm going to sell that because I have a goal of doing something else with that money, right? I don't know what the goal is for a lot of the people that are selling their home right now, that they think that it's going to be so difficult if they didn't have that extra $2,000.
The goal
We're talking
is
about a $400,000 or $500,000 transaction.
But do you blame them for trying to leverage at this point since they overpaid so much before? And I guess they really didn't overpay because that's what the market bared, and the prices haven't came down.
The market is different now. So that answers, you just answered the question. Yeah, a little bit I do, because the market is telling us what houses are worth now by buyers coming in a little bit under where things are or were selling for a year or two ago. That's where it is. So if those are the buyers that are in the market and they're willing to pay X for your house is worth X, period. That's all there is to it. It's not worth more because you put more money into it 2 years ago and made the kitchen a little bit nicer or made the bathroom a little bit nicer. You enjoyed that and you got the benefit of being able to see that and use that every day. That does not have a financial impact on buyers. It might sell your house faster.
Makes it more marketable.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's going to go, oh, they spent $20,000 in the kitchen. I'm going to give them $22,000 for that kitchen.
Doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way.
I think people get in the mindset that they have to recover everything they put into the house. So I used to restore old cars, okay, with the knowledge that if I put $10,000 in this car, I'm probably going to get $8,000 out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's including what I bought the car for.
Right.
Okay. I'm not going to get my money. No. Okay. Because what I did is I did that for my enjoyment.
Right.
So, man, I want to make sure that we point out the fact that we're not blaming either side here.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Neither one of them are coming together.
It's the problem is nobody's talking and nobody's negotiating with everybody's best interest in mind. And I know someone's going to go, well, why do I worry about the other side? Well, because you're trying to buy a house.
Yeah. Or sell a house.
And if you can't come down off of your own platforms and give a little bit, this is not the market for you. Would you say that?
I think you're 100% right.
And it's on both sides. Everybody needs to give and take. And those are our beliefs. Okay.
That's the way it's always been.
Well, that's how negotiation works. Yeah. It's called negotiation for a reason.
Right.
So, hey, listen, Matt, nice talking to you again on this little microphone. My name is John Smith. That's Matt Bollinger. We're Real Estate Rumble with Realty Executives. Now, you can actually find us at smithandbollinger.com to learn more about our real estate team. And see you next time.